Let me give you a number that might freeze you in place. 68% of wives who cheat never get caught by their husbands. And here's the part that's even harder to swallow. 99% of those same women show clear signs of guilt that their husbands completely miss. Why? Because most men are looking for the wrong kind of evidence. You're scrolling through her phone, checking text logs, watching for late night calls, while completely ignoring the signs playing out right in front of you, in her words, her habits, her energy. It's like standing in the middle of a storm and staring only at the weather app. Human behavior is never perfect. Guilt real. Heavy guilt leaks into every part of a person's life. It shows in how they sleep, how they speak, how they interact with you. And if you know what to look for, it's like seeing fingerprints on glass. You can't unsee them. I'm not here to make you paranoid. I'm here to give you clarity. Because A, man who ignores patterns is a man who risks living in a lie. A man who learns to read them, that's a man who protects his peace. Over the years, I've studied these behaviors, seen them in real relationships, heard them in confessions people swore they'd take to the grave, and the patterns are so predictable, it's almost criminal that nobody teaches men about them. So, in this video, I'm going to share with you 10 signs that a woman is carrying guilt she doesn't want you to see. They don't prove she's cheating, but they do prove something's eating away at her. And if you recognize several of these signs in your own life, it's time to stop second guessing yourself and start asking the hard questions. This is about awareness, about seeing reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. Because the truth may hurt, but denial will destroy you. Sign number one, phantom phone syndrome. Before we dive into the first sign, I need you to do something that could change how you see every relationship from this point forward. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Why? Because this channel exists to give you the truths no one else will say out loud. If you've ever felt like something was off but couldn't put your finger on it, you're in the right place. Now, let's talk about sign number one, the phantom phone syndrome. Most men think phone cheating means hidden passwords or deleted messages, but the real giveaway is far more subtle and far more revealing. Watch her relationship with the phone itself. Does she check it when there's no ding, no buzz, nothing? Pick it up, glance at it for 2 seconds, put it back down over and over. That's not boredom. That's habit born from constant contact with someone she doesn't want you to know about. You might notice her typing something, pausing, deleting it, starting again. She's crafting the perfect message, one that won't expose her but still keeps the other person hooked. When you walk into the room, does she close apps instantly even if you weren't looking? Here's the big one. Phone always face down. Battery dying at convenient times. Excuses about why you can't use it. That's not random, that's strategy. In Stoic terms, appearances often hide the truth, but patterns reveal it. If her phone behavior suddenly feels guarded, jittery, or strangely private, ask yourself, when did this start and what changed? Men miss this because they're looking inside the phone. The truth is, the phone is just a prop. Her behavior around it is the real script. And if you're paying attention, that script tells you everything. Sign number two, social media silence. In today's world, social media is like a highlight reel of our relationships. For years, she posted pictures of the two of you vacations, date nights, anniversaries. The captions had hearts. The comments were full of friends saying, relationship goals. And then, almost overnight, nothing. No more couple selfies. The relationship status quietly disappears or it's suddenly private. She stops tagging you in posts, even when you're together at events. Maybe she even deletes old romantic posts saying she's cleaning up her profile or keeping things more personal. Here's what you need to understand. Guilt doesn't just live in the shadows, it hates the spotlight. Every time she posts about your relationship, she feels like a fraud. Every love my husband caption is a lie she has to tell, not just to you, but to everyone watching. I've seen this pattern countless times. When someone's living a double life, public declarations of love feel heavier than chains. Keeping up the act online becomes exhausting, so they stop doing it. Could it be innocent? Sure, people change how they use social media, but timing is everything. Did this silence start right when other changes in her behavior began? Did she go from proudly showing you off to pretending the relationship doesn't exist? That's not just being private. That's rewriting the public story so it doesn't conflict with the private one. The Stoics would say, Observe. Don't assume. Don't get lost in jealousy, but don't ignore the shift. If the woman who once broadcasted your love to the world now acts like you're invisible online, it's not about filters or algorithms. It's about the truth she can't bear to display anymore. Sign number 3, sudden generosity. Imagine this. She suddenly cooks your favorite meal on a random Tuesday. She buys that tool or gadget you mentioned weeks ago, even though you'd forgotten about it. She's folding your laundry without complaining, running errands for you, surprising you with your favorite coffee, and she's doing it all out of nowhere. At first, you think, wow, she's really showing me more love. But here's the uncomfortable truth: genuine affection feels natural. This kind of generosity often feels off, like she's reading from a script instead of speaking from the heart. The timing is strange. The gestures are a little too perfect. And deep down, you sense there's a reason. This is guilt's way of keeping the scales balanced. On some level, she knows she's taking something from you: trust, intimacy, loyalty. So she tries to pay for it with good deeds. It's like she's running an emotional accounting ledger. Betrayal on one side, extra kindness on the other. I've seen men mistake this for a relationship revival, only to realize later that it was damage control all along. Could she just be trying harder? Sure. But ask yourself, did these changes happen alongside other strange behaviors? Did her love feel steady before, or did it suddenly spike after certain unexplained absences? The Stoics teach us to judge not by isolated moments, but by consistent patterns over time. A single act of kindness means little. A sudden flood of them with an odd intensity means everything. And if this is ringing uncomfortably true for you, stay with me, because the next sign is one most men never see coming. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and let's move straight into sign number 4. A subtle but powerful shift in behavior that can speak louder than any confession. Sign number 4 is sudden changes in appearance. You've known her style for years. Maybe she's been consistent. Same kind of clothes, same hairstyle, same perfume she's worn since your early days together. And then, almost overnight, it all changes. She's spending more time in front of the mirror. She's buying clothes you've never seen her wear before, sometimes without any clear reason. Her makeup routine suddenly becomes more detailed. Her hair gets a new cut or color. Even her signature fragrance changes. You ask about it, and you get vague answers: just felt like trying something new, or I wanted to treat myself. Here's the thing: change isn't bad. People evolve, but big, sudden, and uncharacteristic changes in appearance often have a target audience. And if that audience isn't you, then who is it? I've seen this pattern in countless stories. A woman in a long-term relationship suddenly starts dressing sharper, wearing bolder lipstick, or hitting the gym with renewed intensity. Not because she's rediscovered self-love, but because she's marketing herself to someone new. It's not just self-care, it's strategic presentation. The Stoics would remind us: examine the motive, not just the motion. If her changes were paired with shared excitement, telling you about them, involving you, that's one thing. But if they're paired with secrecy, defensiveness, or other behavioral shifts, the motive might not be so innocent. So ask yourself, did these changes come with an open smile or a closed door? Were they gradual, or did they appear suddenly in sync with other signs we've discussed? Because appearance isn't just about style, it's a silent message. And sometimes that message isn't meant for you. Stay sharp, because the next sign we're about to discuss, it dives deep into the emotional roller coaster that guilt creates. And it can be even more revealing than a wardrobe overhaul. Sign number 5, the emotional pendulum. One day she's warm, affectionate, and almost clingy, holding your hand in public, laughing at your jokes like she did in the early days. The next day she's distant, irritated by the smallest things, and looking at you like you're in the way. You feel like you're living with two different people, and you never know which version you're going to get. Here's what's really happening: guilt is chaos in disguise. She still cares for you, but she also feels unworthy of your love. That inner conflict creates extreme emotional swings. One moment, she's overcompensating, smothering you with affection to convince herself she's still a good partner. The next, she's pushing you away, picking fights, or criticizing things she once adored. Because if she can paint you as the problem, her betrayal feels less like a crime and more like a reaction. I've seen this countless times. Men walking on eggshells, confused, thinking it's mood swings, hormones, or stress from work. But the Stoics would tell you, don't be distracted by the surface storm. Watch the currents beneath. Ask yourself, did this start gradually or was it sudden? Do the loving moments feel authentic or like they're being performed? Are the cold moments triggered by anything real or do they appear out of nowhere? The emotional pendulum is exhausting for both sides, but for her, it's also a way to avoid looking in the mirror by keeping you off balance. She doesn't have to face the steady reflection of your trust. And if you're seeing this pattern alongside other signs we've discussed, it's not just relationship turbulence, it's guilt trying to rewrite the story. In the next sign, we're going to look at something that happens when the house is quiet, the lights are off, and she thinks you're asleep, and it might be the most telling clue yet. Sign number 6, obsessive cleaning. A clean home is great, but there's a difference between tidying up and trying to scrub away your conscience. When guilt runs deep, it doesn't just stay locked in the mind, it spills out into actions. And one of the clearest patterns I've seen is sudden compulsive cleaning. We're talking about wiping down counters that are already spotless, washing the same load of laundry twice, reorganizing closets that were perfectly fine last week, folding towels that were never used, even constantly cleaning her phone screen like it's been dipped in grease. Not because it's dirty, but because something inside feels dirty. And here's what's key, the energy behind it. This isn't the satisfied hum of someone who enjoys a neat home. It's frantic, urgent, like she's racing to erase something only she can see. I've had men tell me they watch their wives scrub the same surface 3 times in an hour, not out of boredom, but almost like they were in a trance. The Stoics taught that the soul takes the shape of what it dwells upon. If she's dwelling on guilt, her actions will reflect that cleaning becomes symbolic, a ritual of self-purging. And it's not random. You'll often notice these bursts of obsessive cleaning right after she's been away or had unexplained absences. The moments when her conscience is loudest, could it just be a new burst of motivation? Sure. But ask yourself, did this habit start gradually? Or did it appear almost overnight? Is it paired with a certain tension in her body? A tightness in her tone? Because physical cleaning is easy emotional cleaning. That's the battle she's really fighting. And next, we're going to talk about a sign that doesn't live in the daylight at all. It happens when the rest of the house is sleeping, and it reveals more than words ever could. Sign number 7, withdrawal from family and mutual friends. In healthy relationships, shared social circles are like a safety net. Family gatherings, double dates, weekend barbecues with friends who know you both. But when guilt creeps in, those same connections start to feel like a spotlight she wants to avoid. You might notice she's suddenly too tired to attend a cousin's birthday, too busy for dinner with your old friends, or she claims she just needs more me time. At first, it sounds reasonable. We all need space. But over time, a pattern emerges. She's stepping back from the people who see your relationship up close. Why? Because every shared event means more eyes, more questions, and more chances for her mask to slip. Guilt turns familiar faces into mirrors she doesn't want to look into. Being around people who believe in the relationship forces her to play the role of a loving partner, and that role feels heavier with every secret she carries. I've seen this happen slowly, almost unnoticed. One skipped dinner turns into skipping every other gathering. Before you know it, she's avoiding the very people who once brought her joy. And here's the Stoic angle. Truth doesn't hide from community, only guilt does. Could it be introversion or burnout? Absolutely. But timing matters. Did this withdrawal start after other shifts in her behavior? Does she avoid certain individuals more than others? Maybe the ones most likely to notice changes in her. If the woman who once loved being part of the shared social fabric now acts like it's a chore, it's worth asking why. Because pulling away from your circle often means she's not just distancing from them, she's creating distance from you. And in the next sign, we'll explore something even more revealing. What happens when she stops planning for a future with you altogether? Before we go further, if this video is opening your eyes, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, click the bell, give this video a like, and share it with someone who might need to hear it. The more men who understand these patterns, the harder it becomes for deception to thrive in silence. Sign number 8, Sleep pattern disruption. The human mind can hide a lot during the day, but at night, that's when the truth gets loud. Guilt has a way of stealing rest. You might notice she's wide awake when she thinks you're asleep, staring at the ceiling, tossing and turning, or getting up multiple times for water or the bathroom. Sometimes she ends up asleep on the couch by accident, avoiding the bed you share. Other times she suddenly needs sleeping pills, melatonin, or other aids she never used before. You might catch her scrolling through her phone at 2, 3, even 4 in the morning. And it's not just insomnia, it's her conscience on replay. Remembering what she did, imagining getting caught, rehearsing explanations she hopes she never has to give. The Stoics taught that an untroubled mind rests easily. If rest has left her, something is stirring within. Could it be work stress, health issues, or other life pressures? Of course, but timing matters. Did this restlessness appear alongside other signs we've talked about? Did it show up suddenly without a clear cause? Sleep is one of the body's most honest indicators. When someone's peace is broken, the night becomes their battleground. And if she's losing that battle night after night, it's worth asking what war she's fighting in her head. In the next sign, we'll dive into how guilt can strip the future right out of a relationship without a single word being spoken. Sign number 9, the future planning freeze. In a healthy relationship, the future isn't just an idea, it's a shared vision. You talk about vacations you'll take, projects you'll do together, even simple things like next month's dinner with friends. Those conversations are part of the glue that keeps you connected. But when guilt moves in, that vision starts to blur. Suddenly, she avoids making plans beyond next week. Bring up a trip you used to be excited about, and she says, "Let's see what happens." Or, "We'll figure it out later." Mention an anniversary dinner, and she changes the subject. It's not that she's living in the moment, it's that she can't picture a future where she's still keeping the same secret. I've seen this before. She's mentally torn between two timelines: the life she's built with you and the fantasy she's entertaining with someone else. Planning with you means closing the door on that other possibility, and guilt makes that door very hard to shut. The Stoics would say, no one plans with conviction for a path they do not intend to walk. If her enthusiasm for your shared future has vanished, it's not random. It's a sign of inner conflict. Could it be stress, uncertainty about finances, or a rough patch in life? Absolutely. But here's the question you have to ask. Did this shift in planning happen at the same time as other changes in her behavior? Was she once the one circling dates on the calendar and now she acts like the calendar doesn't exist? When someone stops making plans with you, they're already living, at least in their mind, in a different future. And if you don't address it, one day you'll wake up and realize you're not in her plans at all. Up next, we'll break down the final sign, one that ties all the patterns together and might be the clearest indicator of hidden guilt. Sign number 10, the confession rehearsal. Sometimes guilt doesn't just hide do, it flirts with exposure. You might hear her say things like, "What would you do if I ever, messed up?" Or she tells you about a dream where she was unfaithful. Maybe she brings up a news story or a friend's relationship drama involving cheating, then watches your face closely as you respond. On the surface, it seems casual, just conversation. But beneath it, she's testing the water, seeing how you might react if the truth ever came out. This is what I call the confession rehearsal. I've seen this pattern more times than I can count. She starts a serious conversation. We need to talk, and your heart drops. But then she shifts gears to something mundane like what to have for dinner. It's not indecision, it's fear, wrestling with guilt. Part of her wants to confess and unburden herself. The other part is terrified of the fallout. The Stoics would tell us, what we fear to say often rules us more than the truth itself. These little rehearsals are way of dipping a toe into the water without diving in. Could it be harmless curiosity? Sure, but pay attention to timing and repetition. Does she bring up betrayal scenarios more often lately? Does she change the subject quickly once you start answering? That's not small talk. That's a stress test for your forgiveness. If you catch this pattern, don't ignore it. It's a sign that something is pressing against the walls of her conscience, looking for a way out. And if you miss it, the next time you hear the words, "we need to talk," it might not be a rehearsal anymore. it might be the real thing. Now that we've covered all 10 signs, let's connect the dots and see how they fit into the bigger picture of trust, intuition, and self respect. We've walked through 10 signs, and here's the truth you need to hear. None of these signs alone prove infidelity, but every one of them points to something heavier. Guilt. Guilt can be born from many things. Yes, it could be physical cheating, but it could also be an emotional affair, inappropriate conversations, or even a boundary cross that she wishes she could undo. Sometimes guilt isn't about what's already happened, it's about what someone is considering. The point isn't to turn you into a paranoid detective, tearing apart every moment or reading meaning into every glance. The point is to wake you up to patterns. Because when behaviors change suddenly and in ways that don't make sense, there's always a reason. I've seen too many men dismiss their instincts because they wanted to keep the peace. They ignored the knot in their gut only to look back later and realize their gut was right all along. The Stoics said, "Truth is not harmed by inquiry." Asking hard questions doesn't destroy a healthy relationship, it protects it. So, trust your instincts. Pay attention. If you've recognized multiple signs we've talked about today, have the courage to bring them into the open, not with anger, but with clarity. Not to accuse, but to understand. Because you deserve honesty, you deserve loyalty, you deserve a partner who chooses you every day, not someone living two lives while you're building one together. Protect your value, guard your peace. And remember this, a man who pays attention is a man who cannot be deceived for long. If this message resonated with you, subscribe, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and keep learning how to navigate relationships with your eyes wide open, not got.